Hey everyone, today I'm going to be sharing how you could win at the credit card interest game using the rapid payoff method. And at the end of this video, I hope that you have a better understanding how it is that credit card interest is actually charged throughout the course of the month and why it's actually advantageous to you to start changing your bill pay down methods or start changing where you leave your cash flow throughout the course of the month to help speed this process up. So typically here's how credit card payments are handled. This is an example where someone owes a $9,500 payment. So let me say this about a credit card company. The way they determine how much to pay, they usually take a percentage, 2 to 3% to determine what your monthly payment is going to be. So on this particular balance that is owed, it's a 2% monthly payment and it's $190 a month. If you follow the plan that they give you, how to make the minimum payment or when to make the minimum payment, that's going to mean that from that $190, only $12.57 is actually impacting or paying down the principal. The rest is actually going to the interest, meaning that the following month you start off with $9,487.43. Now, did you know that if you took that $190 payment and you divided it by 30, you're going to get a number, I think it's, or 31 rather, you're going to get a number. It's like $6.12, give or take. Well, if you took that $6.12 and you actually sent it to the credit card company as a payment on a daily basis, you would actually pay less in interest than you would if you just waited once a month to pay that minimum balance or minimum payment rather. And the reason why is because how average daily balances are calculated on a credit card. So what I've done here is I'm going to show you an example with the same credit card and what the payments are on a biweekly basis and how that's actually going to impact not just the balance, right, but the actual interest cost. And that's why this rapid payoff method can be so efficient. So this is calculated on 22% over 31 days. Here we see the balance of the credit card again. So this is the month of August, which is just upon us right now. It's going to start on a Friday. And what I've done is I've calculated what the expenses are on an average daily balance for a balance of $9,500. And we can see that at $9,500, if that balance stayed there for the course of the 31 months and nothing else was paid to it, that means that for every day that it's at $9,500, the charge is $5.72. Okay. So in this example, this person is actually getting paid twice a month. The cash flow that they had was $43.90. They're going to be using the extra cash flow that they have, but they're also going to be running an additional $3,900 of expenses through this particular credit card. We're going to see how that's impacting again, not just the balance, but actually the day-to-day interest that's paid. So the first 7 days is $5.72. Now on day number 8, there is income that's coming in, right? It's $2,195. That's the income that's being placed into this particular credit card, which is going to lower their balance. And you can see that once that's done, the actual daily rate, the interest cost rather, is going to be $4.40. So it went down from paying the 22% on $9,500 to paying now 22% on $7,305 by simply moving that cash flow or that income in as a payment. And that's going to be there for 2 days. Now we know that because we mentioned that in that particular instance, they're going to have to be using that credit card to also make their daily payments, like groceries and pay for gas and going out to eat and things like that. So on the 10th, they're going to be incurring expenses, and those expenses are going to be $1,000. What that means, obviously, then, if those $1,000 are charged on the credit card, the actual balance is going to go up at the end of the day. $1,000 is going to bring it up to $8,305. And now there's a $5 charge that is being charged every day that balance stays there. But even with the new expenses, is less than what the original expense cost was when this month started. Now, on the 15th, they're going to incur some additional expenses of $950, and that's going to bring up their new total balance to $9,255, which is also going to bring up the cost on the average daily balance to $5.58. And that's going to be there for a good chunk of the following week, $5.58. But when they get paid again, right, on the 22nd, there's another $2,195 payment that is being made, which brings down the balance to $7,060. So as you can see, that's going to drop the average daily cost, right, to $4.26. And then basically what was repeated on this particular week is repeated on the final week, where $1,000 in expenses is made. That's going to actually impact the balance and bring it up to $8,060, and it's going to increase the daily cost to $4.86. They finish up that particular month making some additional expenses of $950, which means at the end of the month, and this is why I said at the beginning of the video, it's not just based off of the balance, even though at the end of the month, there's a $9,010 is the balance. So I'm going to pause there because some people will look at this and they look at the strategy and just say, it doesn't make a lot of sense, or you're just using your money or changing it around. It does make a lot of sense because you're impacting the average daily balance cost. Not only that, say that he took this extra $300, right? And every other week he's getting paid two times a month. So he took half of that and he made extra payments of $150 to this credit card, which is something that he most definitely could do. Still, at the end of the month, the balance would be $9,374.24. There'd be an additional $174.24 of interest that would have been paid throughout that time period. Here, by using this method, making bigger chunks, right, of income into the particular credit card that you're running expenses from, you're actually bringing down. I hope that you can see that is clear. The amount of dollar, or rather the amount of interest costs on a daily basis is less than where we first started at the beginning of the month. And that's what makes this strategy so powerful. So at the end of the month, $9,010 is owed. And what is the total cost of this process? Well, let's take a look at it. 7 days, the balance was at $5.72, $40.04. 2 days, it was at $40.04, which is $8.80. 5 days, it was at $5, which is $25. 7 days at $5.58, the total cost of $39.06. 2 days at $4.26, $8.52 is the cost there. 5 days at $4.86, $24.30. And the last 3 days, it was a daily cost of $5.43. So we can see all these costs as were changing. We never paid more than the $5.72 on a daily basis. And the total interest cost here is actually $162.01, which, again, this is just the month of August. We were to say if this was August, this particular month, the end of interest cost would be $177. So we see interest is being saved. The balance here at the end of August would be $9,487.43. The new balance here is actually at the end of this month, $9,010, which is a win-win in both situations. So that's what makes this rapid payoff method so much more powerful than just sending extra payments. Again, if you made payments to this credit card every single day, even you making payments to your credit card, take whatever you're making on a monthly basis one time, you can send it on a daily basis, and you will still save yourself some interest depending on obviously how much you send to that particular credit card. So hope this video helps you. Hope it makes a lot of sense. Thanks for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Until then, take care and God bless.